Some movies fail quietly, others crash and burn so badly that it's impossible to ignore. Ever since Disney announced its Snow White remake, it seemed doomed to fail. But now, with box office numbers plummeting and critics tearing it apart, one question remains: did this movie ever stand a chance? The numbers don't lie. Audiences have responded in the worst way possible by ignoring it completely. But was it just the film's quality that drove people away? Or did the lead actress sink the project before it even hit theaters? Let's break it all down. This movie started off wrong. If there's one thing Disney excels at, it's selling nostalgia. When a studio remakes a classic, it's banking on the audience's love for the original story. But what happens when the film's own team seems to hate that legacy? Rachel Zegler, the actress playing Snow White, spent 2 years trashing the original film in interviews. According to her, the 1937 classic was weird, the prince was a stalker, and the entire story needed to be rewritten to be more empowered.
That is just so appealing and so special.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's Scary Adventures. Doesn't sound like something a little kid would like. Was terrified of it. Never revisited Snow White again. So I watched it for the first time in probably 16, 17 years.
But here's the problem. The audience that grew up with Snow White never asked for these changes. And what could have been a nostalgic remake turned into everything fans didn't want to see. And the consequences were immediate. By the way, if you're enjoying how this video gets straight to the point and gives you the real facts, take a second to hit the like button. It helps the channel a lot and makes sure YouTube keeps recommending content like this to you. Now, let's talk about the disaster that followed. The audience rejected it immediately. Even before its release, the Snow White trailers were racking up millions of dislikes, but Disney seemed confident. After all, The Little Mermaid also faced backlash, but still managed to perform well at the box office. This time, however, things were different. When audiences really don't want a movie, they simply don't show up, and that's exactly what happened. In its second week in theaters, Snow White made just $14 million, losing the top spot to The Beekeeper, a generic action film starring Jason Statham. To put things in perspective, its total domestic box office sits at $66.8 million, and worldwide, it has reached $143 million. A terrible result for a Disney blockbuster. And if there's one thing Hollywood understands, it's money. What will Disney do after this failure, and what does it mean for their future projects? Let's discuss that next. What this means for Disney's future. The failure of Snow White isn't just a one-time flop. It signals a bigger problem with Disney's strategy of rewriting classics to fit a modern agenda. In recent years, Disney's live-action remakes have fallen into two categories. The ones that stay faithful to the original and make billions, like The Lion King and Aladdin. The ones that try to change everything and end up being rejected by audiences. And if there's one studio that needs strong box office numbers in 2025, it's Disney. Upcoming releases include How to Train Your Dragon, Lilo and Stitch, and even a Minecraft adaptation. All of these have the potential to be major hits. But has Disney actually learned anything from Snow White's disaster? If you want to stay updated on all of this, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we'll be covering everything. Now, before we wrap up, there's one last thing that needs to be said about this failure. The final lesson from this disaster. When a movie flops, there can be many reasons: bad writing, poor marketing, or tough competition. But in Snow White's case, the film's own team seemed determined to drive audiences away. Rachel Zegler dismissed the original story, the marketing was a disaster, and the final product simply wasn't strong enough to convince people to buy a ticket. The message from audiences is clear: nostalgia isn't a problem, it's a selling point. Now, I want to hear from you. Was Snow White's failure inevitable, or could Disney have done something to save it? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I read them all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.